Hey good people, welcome back to my channel, Beauty in the Frizz. My name is Kara and Beauty in the Frizz stands for the fact that I love everything that has to do with beauty. The Frizz is a nickname that the students on the Magic School Bus gave their teacher, Miss Frizzle. I am an elementary school teacher who is now out for summer, so I'm very excited about that. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new Natasha Denona bronze palette as well as the bronze cheek palette. So if you are at all interested in that collection, please keep on watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we will get started. I have to say that lately I have purchased more makeup than I need, especially being inside. There are just some collections that I have been excited about, but I think that I need to go on a halt. Just like when I did my video duping the Naked Ultraviolet palette and realized that I had those colors in my collection already, I really need to do a lot more of that. I just get so excited sometimes when I see certain color stories, but I'm gonna really try to slow it down. I was really excited about the Natasha Denona collection because I really like those bronzy warm tones. And even though it's a summer palette, it's something that I know I would wear all year. So I was really excited about it. This is my first time using Natasha Denona's eyeshadow. I was excited about that too, trying a new brand. I do have her Love palette. I did buy that at the Sephora sale, but I have not used it yet. I also have the Tan and Glow palette and another one of her face palettes, and I do enjoy those very much. So in my review today, I'm going to go over a description of the palette, show you the swatches, show you a look, do some comparisons between the Tan and Glow palette as well as the Bronze Cheek palette. And last but not least, I'm gonna look at some other eyeshadow palettes in my collection to see, was this something I could have skipped? So I hope that you will enjoy this. Maybe I should show you the palette first. This is the palette, and it just says Natasha Denona Bronze Palette. It is absolutely beautiful. People may feel like these colors are boring. I mean, they are neutrals and they are warm, but I really love these colors. I think they are very stunning, and I also can see a lot of possibilities with different color combinations that you can do on the eye. This is something that you can wear every single day, and you can use it for a nighttime look as well. So there's a lot of versatility here, and I really enjoy that about the palette. With that being said, it is not cheap at all. The palette runs $65. The Bronze Cheek palette runs $55. And yes, that's why I said I've got to cut back, because these collections are not cheap. She also had 3 lip glosses that came out with this collection, and I did pass on those because I have more than enough lip gloss and there was nothing really special about them, so I figured I would pass on that. This bronze color story really spoke to me, and I know I'm going to use it a lot, so I did not mind. So from her website, the description of the palette reads, 15 new shades packed with Natasha Denona's groundbreaking buttery smooth hydrating eyeshadow formula in entrancing brown and vibrant bronze shades. Provides maximum color payoff with minimal effort, blending seamlessly to achieve vibrant, ultra pigmented, long-lasting looks. These rich pressed pigmented shadows leave the skin with an optimum texture and comfortable all-day wear. Shades and formulas were hand-designed by world-renowned makeup artist Natasha Denona, made with the highest quality, pure color pigments, dazzling chroma, crystals, and luminous mineral pearls. Its buttery smooth, hydrating eyeshadow formula wears beautifully on any skin type and skin tone. And I do feel like this palette is pretty universal. I can see women of all shades wearing this palette and the colors showing up. So I was really happy to see that. I've even heard some people, not complain, but I've even heard some people say how much this cheek palette caters to the darker skin tones, which is really nice to see. There are 15 shades. There are some mattes, there are some shimmery satins, there's a duochrome in here. It's really pretty. This is Natasha Denona's 4th mini glow palette, I would like to call it. It's described as a long-lasting multi-use palette with hydrating cream and powder formulas in metallic brown and incandescent champagne shades to define and highlight natural features. Can be used on cheeks, eyes, and lips for an all-around sun-kissed glow. Alluring bronzes, creamy tans, incandescent champagnes, keeping your skin bronzed, blushed, and highlighted all day. The new formula in this palette is called Bounce Cream Blush, and her cream products are at the top, and there's this little flap that keeps them protected. This is the Bounce Cream Blush, and you can press into it. It almost feels like a putty. That's what it feels like. And the Bounce Cream Blush can also be used as eyeshadow. One thing that I do like about this is that it's multi-use, so I can use this on the eyes as well. So, you know, I'm a big fan of products that you can use for different things. I feel like you get your money's worth when you're able to do that. So now that you've heard a description of the palette and I've seen an overall view of what it looks like, I'm gonna do some swatches, get into the look, and I will be back with my final thoughts and just some comparisons to other items I have in my collection. And that way, if you have anything similar, you'll be able to see if this is something that you really need to get. All right? glad I bought this. I really, really, really like it a lot. I can't say that I have anything exactly like this. Now I will say, if you have other Natasha Denona palettes, I think there are some similar shades. I only have the Love palette, and the Love palette is a totally different color story altogether. So this is nothing that would compare to the Bronze palette. If you are interested in comparing the Bronze palette to other Natasha Denona palettes, if you follow Kinkysweat, who I absolutely adore on YouTube, she is like the queen of comparisons. She will compare shades like she does it with the Pat McGrath palettes. I'm sure that in her review, she's going to compare the Natasha Denona palettes so you can kind of see whether or not you need this. She's just awesome. So I'm gonna link her page in the description box so you can check her out for other comparisons to Natasha Denona palettes, because the Love palette just, they're not on the same level as far as color story. I did look at my collection though to see if I had any other bronze palettes that would be similar. The first palette that I thought of in my collection was the Melt Rust palette, and this is it here. Now I do see some similarities in this palette with the Natasha Denona palette. Let's see if I can put them both in the camera. Yeah, here we go. So there are definitely some similarities here. I know that the Rust palette doesn't have any duochrome shades, but very, very, very similar color story. I can look at this right now and see four to five shades that are close. So I don't want to feel like I didn't need this. Another palette that I pulled out that reminded me of the Natasha Denona palette is the Pat McGrath Mothership Sublime Bronze Ambition eyeshadow palette. That's this one right here. Only 6 shades, but the 6 that are here are very close to the same color story. They're not even close to the same color story. They are in the same color story as this Natasha Denona bronze palette. So, I still like the Natasha Denona though. What I like about the Natasha Denona is that even though I can make a full look from this Pat McGrath palette, I love these 2 really dark shades here. I feel like that really will add a nice nighttime look, evening look, a look that you can wear out to an event, whereas the Pat McGrath palette doesn't have that. But the tones are very similar. The next palette in my collection that I picked out was by Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Soft Glam palette. You know, I really like this palette, but I feel like I don't use it because every time I open it up, I get so mad because I had messed up this shade. I was so mad, like somehow it got cracked up and it got all over my mattress. I'll never forget it. And I just was so mad about it ever since. That's just neither here nor there. But these are very, very, very close. And the Anastasia palette does have that deep shade. So if you own Soft Glam, you might not really need to get the bronze palette. Okay, that's the third palette. Last but not least, I pulled this one out. I'm not really sure how it's gonna look side by side, but I have the Zoeva Caramel Melange palette. I'm not sure how to pronounce that word. Oh, actually, I don't feel like this is very similar, but let's take a look. So this is another warm palette. There are some bronzes in there. So I will say that I definitely own some of these shades in other palettes, but I will also say that I still absolutely love this one. I think this, don't get me wrong, I don't love it more than my Divine Rose 2, but I really, really like this a lot. and I cannot wait to experiment with the shades. I feel like if you see this and it doesn't excite you, don't get it. Don't get it because it's new or it's a new launch. Like, it's too much money to be spending on an eyeshadow palette if you're not excited by it. I know the other question a lot of people may have, because I had the same question myself, is if you have the Natasha Denona Tan, Bronze, and Glow palette, do you need to get the Bronze Cheek palette? Because if you put these side by side, it's still that warm color story. And I was looking at this at first and I did not order the cheek palette. I ordered the bronze palette first, and then I went back a few days later and was like, I really do want the cheek palette. Now, if we compare these two, top of the bronze cheek palette has a Bounce Cream Glow, which is a highlight, and then a Bounce Cream Blush. The top of the Tan and Glow palette has a Glow Cream Base and a Super Glow. So, and this isn't even a blush. So they have different things in this palette. The bottom of the cheek palette has a Super Glow Bronze, which I would use this on top of my regular bronzer. I don't know if I would just use this for the bronzer, because I don't necessarily want a shiny bronzer. The tan palette has a blush and bronze powder. So this is just a matte bronze here. And then on the cheek palette, there's a Super Glow Nude, which is like a champagne. And then the tan palette has a Glow Impact powder. So there's different formulas for these shades, but the shades are similar. That being said, I don't feel like I've repeated anything by getting the bronze. Did I need it? No, I did not need it. I did not need it. This was a want. I mean, all of this is a want. That's what we're doing here. I'm escaping the reality of what's going on in the world using makeup. So these are all wants. So all in all, I love it. I love it. I think the shadows were really nice. They were very pigmented. A little went a long way. I didn't have any problems blending anything out. And you know, you shouldn't, when you're paying $65 for an eyeshadow palette, you should not have any problems. I don't expect to have any problems. So I'm glad that I didn't. All right, guys, those are my final thoughts with this Natasha Denona Bronze collection. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a few minutes today. If you did like the video, please subscribe. If there's anything that you'd like to see from me, please comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.